My name is Eric Beavers.
My name is Jared Miller.
Aaron Cowdy. I am the yard manager at Great Western Buildings.
And Justin, the media geek for GWB.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another show. We kind of got a fun one set up for today.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, kind of last minute. Something came up where, it's kind of like an internal thing with an erector and some questions. And then we started a further discussion on it. I said, hey, you know what? While we're doing this, there's a bunch of things that we supply that we intentionally don't supply that some people would want. And, we have reasons for that, mostly detailing reasons. And then there's other things that we supply that we know are kind of incorrect in a way, but we don't really have a way around it. So there'll be some good stuff in here, and definitely some clarification on things that we supply and the reason why we supply them that way.
Right. Or don't supply.
Yeah, exactly. But all of these things that we don't supply, they can be added by the customer if they want. But if it's not needed, we don't want to supply it because we don't want to charge the customer for it. But the rector that we're working with right now, he's like, I just automatically assumed this would be here. We're like, well, did you look at the drawings? Why would it be there? There's supposed to be a slab here, right?
Right.
He's like, no, I just automatically assumed. And actually the customer decided to do a gravel floor on an open lean-to. So, that information wasn't really relayed to us, but I don't blame them. Nobody would think like, hey, I probably need to let the metal building company know that we're not going to have a slab here in this condition. And there could be a slight trim issue. I mean, it's not an issue. It's a building goes up fine, but we are going to supply that. But first, check this out. You guys have already seen this, but I thought it would be fun to kind of share. We get a lot of pictures from customers that don't make it up onto YouTube and don't necessarily make it into the advertising and stuff. But I want to share this kind of like the building of the week, right? Aaron, you know the one I'm talking about. You work with the customer, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Check this thing out. What's the guy's, not the last name, but what's his first name?
His name's Rob.
Rob?
Yep.
He did a killer job.
Yeah, I love that. We supply that wainscoting now, right?
I should zoom in.
We know.
Let's see the wainscot.
This was supplied by us. This is the wood texture PBR panel.
Yeah, I don't know if it was supplied. This job's pretty old. I think we just got this, right? Is this something new, or we had it for a while?
We get it from Delta. Sorry guys, I'm trying to do something here. No, we get it from Delta, so it's available in like this color. I'd have to go grab color samples, but it's available in this color, more of a gray color, and then like a darker brown color.
Oh yeah,
the wood grain.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I did not notice that it was a PBR profile. I thought it was the flat soffit panel, like the FW120 or the SL60.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that turned out super sharp. Really good looking.
Yeah, and he's got that detail with that 3x3 trim right there. Fits really nice onto. He really did a nice finish work here.
Did he put it up himself?
I think so, but I'm not 100%.
That's pretty sharp.
Man, looking at the quality, either he has a hot shit erector that really cares and knows what he's doing, or this is, like I always said, the homeowners, the end users that are putting up their own buildings, they do some of the best work.
Yeah, because they put their heart into it.
Well, yeah, and they're not constrained by time on the job, right? Where hey, if you spend too much time on the job, the erector's going to lose money, or he's going to not be able to bid the job correctly, right, to stay competitive, right? So everybody's bidding to be competitive, and that limits the amount of time they can do. And sometimes,
this is awesome work.
Yeah, sometimes the build quality doesn't.
Those cuts into the header are really good.
Yeah.
That's how you want it.
There is nothing out of place here.
Oh man.
Unless he pulled a Justin and just photoshopped the hell out of it, right?
I mean, even his rake and everything,
right, to
his high eave is really good.
Justin's like, oh, I can fix that. Give me 2 minutes. Make those scratches go away. What? I don't know what that is.
Don't look at that.
That's a camera, a lens artifact.
That's right.
You think?
Yeah. Man, I like his lights too.
Yeah.
I bet you he comes in and paints this later.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his soffits, man. Oh, this picture was taken before he was complete.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. Just now looking through them.
Dang. This is real wood.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, it is.
He threw out our cover trim and said, I got something better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
Rob, you said, right?
Rob, yeah.
Well, hey, Rob, if you're watching this, good
Well
job,
done, sir.
Well done. Good job.
Yeah.
Well done.
So, Justin would like to interview you.
I would. This is beautiful.
All right.
It's a gorgeous building.
All right. Well, let's get on topic here.
Yep.
Well, Aaron, do you want to start? You got that list. You want to just start with the one?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is kind of in detailing, provide enough base trim for lean-tos, like we were talking about. In detailing, sometimes they're assuming that it's going to be a slab, and that's kind of hard to do unless you get that done and PMing, which we should ask those questions of, how are you finishing this lean-to? What can I convey over to our detailing team of how you want this? Do you need to drop if you're going to put a slab, you want to drop it 1.5 inches so we could put base trim on? Because the erector that you were talking about, we didn't supply base trim. And to me, I'd say just provide it, but that's just my thought. I've ran into that issue before where you had to raise up the base trim 1.5 inches, and then you have to come back and seal that end wall, because it's up against the base angle, and now stuff can get in there. So, Jared, you guys detail that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We're only as good as the information that's provided to us, right? So if you're gonna, we get it a lot. I've noticed it for, 20 years now, where when it comes to the foundation, generally the metal building company is the last to know, if at all. Right. So especially when you're dealing with like a lean-to situation, sometimes we need to drop the columns, like you said, like 1.5 inches. Sometimes it's more, and sometimes they'll tell us, sometimes they won't. So I'm with you, Aaron, that in PM, if you could tell us, what we naturally always assume is that this is on a concrete slab, and on the anchor bolt plan, we give you base plate elevations, and that's where they're at. So if there's any change, this is what we're going with, and we need to know. In the transition between, basically two buildings, your main building and a lean-to, we assume that there is a level concrete slab there. The reason that we don't supply a base trim is because more times than not, the end of the base trim has got just like a little, 1/2 inch, 5/8 lip at a 45 degree. What ends up happening is, a normal lean-to, let's just say it's, 30 foot. Well, that's 30 feet of that trim that you're going to have to flatten out in order to make work. And that's just a nightmare. And then the trim looks like garbage because we didn't know, so.
I look at it a little bit differently, guys. One, that base trim could just come up and the drip edge could stay there. I find the real issue that I have with it is that it's going to trap water underneath, because you're going to want to slam it all the way down to the ground. It's going to trap water, and it's not going to prevent any weather seal between the inside of the building and the outside of the building, right? Because everything's on a even surface. Right. So we design it open lean-tos, assuming everything's going at 100 foot, zero. That's just zero. Everything is at the same plane. And that the erector or the customer is going to seal, usually with butyl sealant or, construction adhesive underneath the base angle or base channel or whatever is there to prevent water from going in and out. Now, if it's a gravel floor on an open lean-to, which in this scenario it is, that gravel is going to be below the same level as the finished floor. So it would make absolute sense to put a base angle there. Yep. Now, of course, it's protected from the weather. So that drip edge really isn't necessary. I mean, let's be honest, a drip edge is not, a lot of metal building companies don't even supply base trim, right?
Mhm.
It's just a cut panel down to the thing and there's no drip edge, which sometimes I think looks, pretty darn good, but it does jazz up the building and provides a little bit more. But the answer on the level of the columns, Jared, we should never lower a column on the outside of a lean-to. That should always be at 100, unless it's going really, really far out, like 40 feet or something like that. We might want to lower it a little bit, but we don't want to lower it down to 0, right? Because the lean-to floor or whatever, the open lean-to, if it's concrete, is going to have a slight grade on it, right? We don't want water coming off that grade and going underneath the base plate.
Mhm.
So we put everything up at 100. So it should be an inch, realistically, what you should do is, if you're doing a slab out there, is lower that slab 1.5 inches. And then where that lean-to column is going, have that on a 1.5 inch pedestal. That way water goes around it. You don't rust out your base columns.
Agreed.
So,
But that's one of those details that, if we know about, we understand, we can, detail the building more accurately,
I think, some of the stuff that we're going to talk about here, we don't supply because it costs money and it's not necessary, right? So we don't want to charge customers for stuff that they don't need. And most customers are going to say, hey, I don't want to spend $400 to make something a little bit easier or something. But base trim's really not that expensive. What was it? $3 a linear foot. So you got a 100-foot building. It's, $300.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't think our customers are going to notice that in our estimations.
No.
We can kind of make this a working metal building show and just put it in canon. We are going to supply base trim on all open lean-tos. If it's an open lean-to condition or an open, like an inset bay, let's throw the base trim in there. One thing Perna brought up is, hey, well, we shorten the panels because it's got to come in underneath the roof system.
Right.
So if we add base trim and they're dropping that panel down 1.5 inches, they're going to wind up missing panel up on top.
It's true. There's a lot of factors into
right.
it. So,
and if we don't do that, we make all of them, 1.5 inches or 2 inches longer, right? Not a big deal. We're talking about, $40 worth of panel or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then the customer could wind up in the field having to cut all of those just like they do on the rakes. And oh my gosh, we're going to get yelled at big time.
Yep.
But I think there's enough space in just like what we were looking at, the 3x3 flashing, the flashing that we do to drop our shorter panels 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches and still seal that edge. We'll have to take a look at that in detailing. But Jared, you might know off the top of your head.
If we're doing liner panel, most lean-tos, you're talking about the panel transition there. Most lean-tos don't have any form of like liner panel or a soffit underneath it. So it would probably fall short of the girt that the panel would be attaching to there at that detail. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be covered up by that 3x3 flashing that you're talking about, because that detail is only there when there is liner panel or, like I said, a soffit.
Well,
right, and
go ahead, Aaron.
when it comes to lean-tos, I mean, that's the next thing on the list of some kind of flashing. But me personally, if I was to put up lean-tos, I would have liner or a soffit, because it's a really nice finish.
Yep.
Yeah, and
it costs more, and I guess it just depends. Maybe someone doesn't want to spend that money, but
yeah, I mean, you're basically paying for a roof again, the roof panels
exactly
for underneath. But what I like about putting a soffit panel on, or especially under a lean-to or a inset bay, is our purlins have that edge on them, right?
Yep.
Birds love to hang out up there.
Put
a soffit panel on it, problem resolved.
Yep. Hornets, wasps, they love to get all kinds of places.
They get in everywhere anyways.
They do.
They sneak in through trim details and stuff. Well, let's plan on making a design change, Jared. Open standard lean-to conditions, get base trim. To hell with it. All of them get base trim. Contractor uses it, doesn't use it. It doesn't matter. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where I think we should just supply
cleans that one up. right? And if they need to shorten a panel, I guess in a below eve lean-to, I don't know, base trim.
I think it's a good thing to get with the PMs as well, regardless of supplying base trim.
I've always had an aversion to more paperwork and more forms and more documents for the customers, right? So if it's an open lean-to, PM is going to have to, or sales is going to have to send out a questionnaire, hey, what are you going to do here? And then we put it in final, and then the customer can't make an audible out there on the job site.
Yeah. True.
So I say we just supply it.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't cost much. I mean, it does, but not enough to where I think our sales department would be impacted by it, or the customers would be impacted by it, or even notice it. I mean, the building that we're talking about was 60 foot long.
Yep.
I mean, MBS price on that, I mean, it's probably $100, right? Or maybe, or it was $120 or something. I'd have to take a look at the FL60 layout to figure out the exact cost, but not expensive enough to worry about. Check.
One.
Yeah.
All right.
Got that one out of the way.
What's
this one was from customer service. Some type of trim on and this is lean-tos again, when there is no soffit, right? Some type of trim on the top of panels that are under the lean-to. I think me and Dom were talking about like an FL50, but that might not. That FL50 to me would be such a pain to try to slide your sheet up in there and then bring it back down. And so I was thinking that if you did supply anything, it would be like a 3x1.5 cap trim, like you do on,
like a sill trim?
Inside. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's what the FL50
trim. No.
It's just a 3-inch and then a 1.5-inch leg that just slaps on. It's
are we talking about a below eve lean-to?
Yes.
Yeah. Up against the building where the sheeting comes up.
Capping off the bottom wall panel. That's kind of hidden in the purlin.
Oh, I know what you're saying. So it would actually extend from the purlin to the wall panel, be bent on pitch, and come down.
Well, not necessarily that, but so when you have your lean-to, you have your
Jared, can you
transitioning from roof to wall. Yeah, probably grapple detail. That would probably be the best.
Jared has all the details really like lined up. He knows where they're all at. I have to like go through drawings, like customer drawings, to find the job with that. And sometimes it'll take me like 30 minutes.
I always just Google chatted him like, hey, I need this detail. Yeah. 5 minutes later, I have it. Well, it's good. It's good. Oh. This is definitely a good topic.
Hey, cool. Can we zoom up on that, Jared?
Yep. So I think what Aaron is talking about is basically having a piece of trim that comes in here like that caps that panel.
Why not make it an inside corner, like a soffit trim? Wait, it's already on there. Wait, zoom in.
No, he just put that.
I just drew this.
Yeah, I know. So, what's that pink line down there? That's no trim.
I was wondering what that was.
Okay, so normally
that's the roof trim. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So normally the panel would slide up above the wall panel, right? Or no? They just come to a place to meet. Because the detail's kind of confusing, right? They're pulled apart for clarity, but they should be tight against each other. But I guess at the low ribs, you're going to have a gap in there. So we should throw
like this. You think that it's up there like that?
No, I'm talking about the other panel.
Oh, the roof panel?
The liner panel. Oh, that is the roof panel. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no
soffit
panel.
Okay, so when we have a soffit there, the transition trim between the soffit and the panel.
That's a different detail.
So we could put that trim there and then provide a inside closure underneath the roof panel. Or not at all. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're not worried about water getting in there, right? Because everything else is.
And this is just what came from customer service. I mean, there is an inside closure there, so it does prevent anything getting inside the sheet there and going into the building. So
right, I mean, really, an open lean-to condition without a soffit panel is more of an agricultural building
Correct.
Or like it's designed to be, a nice building, but not jazzed up.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So minimal trims, ease of installation,
Correct.
where a nice barn dough with a lean-to, those are always going to have a soffit panel of some sort, just like the pictures that we were looking to, those overhangs.
Yeah. And I think that the thing that comes into play here too is that we don't have to supply the soffit panel. It doesn't have to be a metal building panel. I mean, like we just witnessed with Rob, right? He did that tongue and groove, fir wood. You could do something like that. Or you could just do, you know what? I don't want the metal building panel. I want, just 4x8 sheets of plywood up there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different soffit panels that could be used. It doesn't necessarily have to be ours to help close that off. Eric, like you said, this is more of the simpler detail. And this is for, like you said, more of like an agricultural, building.
Minimal with it.
Correct.
Right. Well, I'm taking some notes for our detailing to do some standards that we're going to change based on this show. Now, I mean, if the building's purchased, stuff like that, if you want if you have a condition that we're talking about, and it's, before September 2025, call us and tell us that you want to add it. But I think so. Lean-to, no soffit.
Man, if you had
inside.
insulation on that detail, it'd be a pain to get that inside closure in there.
Yeah, it would.
I don't think we need the inside closure, but I'm making some notes. We're gonna add that to that detail. Right? We don't do a lot of agricultural buildings, right? Most of what we do is shops and buildings like what we just were looking at.
All right, what do you got?
Well, don't you have more? You had like 5 things on your list.
Hey, well, you said you had something.
Okay, fine.
This one.
Okay, you go.
Fine, I'll go. All right. This one says, again, this is customer service, providing proper lengths as marked on shipper. And I think that pertains to when customers have soffit that's 1'10" and we send 10'6", right? It's kind of what it comes from our vendor.
2'6".
Yeah, 2 foot. What did I say?
10'6".
10'6".
10'6". Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I have a rebuttal.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I do too.
In a pre-cut roll former.
Yep.
Right. As the panel's going through, there is a minimum length of panel that can go through the roll former. Right. So when I say pre-cut, the panel is cut before it's roll formed. Right. If it gets too short, it doesn't go through the roll former. I think it has to hit 3 stands is the rule. Otherwise, it'll twist up and the machine will just eat the panel.
Well, I think that depends on vendor and the type of machine they have. Maybe.
Well, that's why I said pre-cut. If it's a pre-cut machine, most of the big machines are right. They're all pre-cut with that up shear, right? So it doesn't give that rough edge that tears up panels. So that's MRS, ASC, Bradbury, all these things. Now the Chinese machines, a little cheap, $50,000 things that barely work. They put that stupid siphon groove in them. Those are post-cut machines. So on machines like that, the machine can do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Now, ASC and Bradbury on their really high-end lines, like their $1 million lines, they will have both options on those machines. And we've tried to use the hand shear.
Yeah. That's a lot of work.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? So do we want the customers cutting it out there in the field, right? Which they get upset about, or do we want to, we need to add cost to panels that are shorter than that. That's going to be at our rate, which is going to be a lot more expensive than the rate of a customer doing it on the field, out in the field themselves. So it's always that question, technically on rake ends, if I look at it the same way as a rake end, right? We square cut our panels on a 312 pitch or a 212 pitch. I think on a 112 pitch, you can get away with it, but, or a 4, any pitch building on the rakes, because the panels are square cut, you have to cut those at the rake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or if you have field located framed openings.
Right. Or if you have field located framed openings, or even if you don't have field located framed openings, you still have to do your kerf cuts and stuff like that. But I mean, even if we could do that and it was free, we wouldn't do kerf cuts or framed opening cuts because, those have to be done while it's being built. But, what I was saying with the rake cuts, we could make those cuts in the shop.
Yeah, we could.
We really could, right? It doesn't really take up any flexibility of the panel or anything, but what it does is, one, we'd have to cut them based on, how the building's being assembled, right? So there'd have to be matching mirrored ones, right? There's the opportunity for mistakes there, right? But even if we did and had a shop drawing for each one, I mean, that means we have somebody in the shop, a guy, or maybe a girl, who knows, or a couple of people, lining those things out, jigging them, marking them, and cutting them, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right.
And there's a lot of room. There's so much room for error on that.
Mm-hmm. And that's $30 to $50 an hour, right? Between, if it's one guy and a helper or I say guy, but it could be anybody, right? We do have girls in the shop. Not very many. But, a person and a helper, or just one person, that'd be $30 an hour. But then there's other expenses, right? We have to dedicate the space. We have to have the equipment to cut it off. We have to do the training. HR expenses, moving the panels from the panel bay, over to where this is going to be done, even if it's in the same bay. Then a quality control check on all of that, and then also, what was I going to say? Healthcare costs, stuff like that. I mean, this is that's going to add several $100s to a 40x60. Right.
Well, I guess the question then is,
it's an easy cut. It's an easy cut to make in the field.
It is. And that's what I was going to say about doing Sophet. If customers are watching this and wondering, well, do I just cut all those down on the ground? Me personally, it would be me and another guy. I'd be slapping them up, screwing them, and the other guy would just be cutting off the excess on the eave.
Right. Just exactly like exactly the same way that you do the rakes.
Yeah. It's just tricks of the trade that, when that happens, you just know what to do, and you just cut it as you're going along with another guy while you're in a lift.
Right. We could take another look at that hand shear. I think we could take another look at it. Okay. Do you want me to go, or you want to go next again?
Well, this one, I think we have resolved this. And I was talking to customer service about it yesterday. And it's just providing FL48s for higher snow loads on every foot. I think we do that now regardless, right? Instead of every 3 foot. So
what's FL48?
FL38. That's the
FL38
gutter strap.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a smart idea to provide every foot when you have anything over at least a 40, maybe even 35.
No, I think that's why we did the Jared, stop me if I'm wrong, but I mean, that was the whole idea for the snow rake. Right. I mean, we can put FL38 gutter straps on every single high rib, right? But the purpose of if you're not going on the lapping ribs on 3 foot centers, then you're putting in a gutter strap with a tech screw or a stitch screw into a single 26 gauge panel.
Yeah,
there's
lots of buildings with FL38 and on a snow load that was 60, and I never had any issues with gutters coming apart. Only time that happens for every high is someone didn't properly do a lap or something, So
we can do it. Dan and Richard and I all spoke about this in depth when we were doing the snow rake or the snow rail, whatever we're calling it, the thing that prevents snow from sliding. What Preston has. And
I think it's smart to have that regardless of what kind of gutter you have.
Right. Well, actually, I think if we were to do that, then what we would do is provide some sort of a backup plate.
Yeah.
Waiting for
Jared. We talked about this before a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, what I used to call a cinch strap. What do you
think about those FL38s, Jared?
I think that what we've done before is whenever we have a roof snow load over 50, we generally prompt the customer of, do you want to do this? Sometimes we've incorporated it into the price of the building. If we were to do like a backup plate, like you were talking about, Eric, you would almost need 2 cinch straps, one on top, one on bottom, where like the panels in between.
FL38 has the cinch strap on the top or the backup plate?
I think so. I mean, the other way that I've heard of it, being done, I don't know if it's easier or not, is rather than putting the FL38 on top of the panel, you actually slide it in under the panel.
Right. But
That's a
but you can't. You only have like a couple of inches before you hit the closure.
and it's this big pain to
Right. And it's
like I said, I've put FL38s on plenty of buildings and with no snow guard, and you can do every foot. I know it's only 26 gauge, but you do it every foot. You could have 3 guys doing pull-ups on it, and it ain't gonna bend.
Yeah,
not 3, maybe 3 of me.
Not even one. Right. I mean, it's sticking out this far. It's just it's just that it only works in this direction. Touche.
Not 3 guys, but I've definitely pulled up on gutters to get up on top of a roof.
Right.
Don't listen, OSHA.
I'm going to blur that out. Just beep.
All right. If you have a high snow load and you have a gutter thing, talk to your PM. We do have options. The snow rail is by far the best option.
Well, and generally,
I don't think so.
FL38s do it. They're a couple bucks a piece. Adam,
and most of the time, anything over, when the roof snow is over 50, most of the time we're not even providing gutter just because this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
We can do, we've done it. But, at that point it's freezing with ice. There's a lot of other things that like go on, and, it's a lot of increased maintenance costs too.
Right.
So
I agree. I like gutters though.
Yeah.
Gutters are good.
And I do agree. If you're going to do gutter, I think what you guys have came up with for that trim is really cost effective and going to save you a lot of headache with that snow rake.
Yeah.
I did the in the field.
I think, Jared, you're right. I think, hey, if a customer, if you want the extra FL38s, the gutter straps, ask for them. They'll sell them to you. They're cheap. It's going to require another bag of screws or 2, or depending on the length of the building. And I mean, heck, you could use 2 of them. One on the, one on top, one underneath, just on that small edge, right? To provide some sort of a cinch strap. But I would incorporate the snow rail into that as well. Do both.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then I don't pre-cutting lower girts for framed openings, man doors, subframes, non-field located. A little confused.
So like a factory located framed opening for man doors?
Yeah, but we do that already, right?
No.
Well, I don't know. I like the fact of being able to move my door wherever I need to move it.
There's always, and one of the reasons why we do, especially like smaller framed openings like a man door, as field located, is because of that. Generally, things change, right? I was going to have, my shop here, and then I realized how big my tool chest was once I had it up against the wall. I needed to move that door over a foot because I didn't realize how big that tool chest was. I was thinking it was like, 18 inches, and it ended up being like 3 feet. Well, now you got to move your door. Well, we already pre-cut it. Well, send me a new girt. Okay.
That's expensive.
That's a very expensive thing when it's just easy enough to,
Yeah, or you have an inspector coming out and like, you can't have that door there.
Correct. Yeah, it's against fire code having it this close to the edge of the building. I mean, those things happen literally all the time. So that's why they're all field located. So
I like them field located too, because if on a longer building, I won't install field located framed openings until I'm a couple panels away while I'm doing the wall panels, right? Or unless you're on a real close to an edge where you're going to start sheeting, and you have that layout, because you want running the panels down a 100-foot long building. You'd be the best erector in the world. You are probably going to get off modulation by the time you're down there a little bit. Right.
Yep.
And you don't want to be trimming into a pan section if you can avoid it. Just doesn't look good. But also, I mean, on 3.0s, what's nice also, or like windows, those are field located almost always, unless it's a giant, heavy, beefy type window that requires a bunch of big, heavy stuff. Because man, if it's factory located, you can't adjust that RO. You can't make it any wider. Right.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could make it wider. You definitely can't make it narrower. Right. And there's usually not enough panel in field located openings where it makes any sense to, factory cut the panels so that, like on a 3-foot wide door, if it's in the right location, you're cutting a whole panel in half, or, cutting that whole 7-foot section. But what's nice is then you got a little bit of extra panel in case you have, some air somewhere else. I've had to use those before.
Me too.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
Can I go?
All right. What do you got?
All right. Here's what I got. So I was thinking like export jobs, right? Like additional trims and panels.
Yeah.
Like export jobs, we recommend it. And what I'm talking about here is like, okay, if you're going to get a building, right, we're going to ship
anything outside the continental U.S. is what we would consider an export job.
Correct.
So Alaska and Hawaii, they're export.
Anything that has to go on a boat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would agree so much with that. I would spend the extra money for anything extra I could find.
Right. And I've had customers say, hey, I should have received this. I ruined this panel, right? Because, whatever reason, I made a bad cut. The panel's no longer usable. You should send an extra panel, for, this on every job, right? A lot of times the cover sheets can be used, but they're not always the same color, right? That's scrap material that we're using as cover sheets. But if we do that, then what we need to do, and like export jobs, right? It's going to be the longest panel in each color and each type of panel for the building, right? So it doesn't make sense for us to, if you have a green roof and red walls, it doesn't make sense for us just to send one green roof panel extra. We probably also want to send the wall panel, right? And then hey, if we mess up the gutters, the miter cuts or something like that, do we want to send, an extra 20 foot of gutter, right? Or do we want to send an extra 20 foot of rake trim? At what point do you stop is enough, right? One extra piece of everything, right?
Yeah.
You could take that all the way to, should we supply one extra rafter for,
Correct.
Obviously not.
Yep.
But the problem with that, and, like I've told customers is, this is easy, right? So you have a 60-foot wide building, right? So you got 32-foot roof sheets, right? Call that roof sheet, standard S&P PBR panel, $5 a foot, right? That's $160 right there, right? That's not something that GWB can just add on to the building without covering its cost. So that winds up in the calculation of the run. Then say you got 20-foot eaves on that, there's another $100 panel, right? A 20-foot gutter, right? That's another $100 piece of gutter, right? So eventually, this becomes $1,000, a couple $1,000, right? An extra wainscot panel, an extra soffit panel, an extra, it's a great idea, right? But it's more than like, we send extra stuff on everything, right? We send we send extra closures, we send extra screws, nuts, bolts, fasteners, right? We round up to the next bag. A307 bolts, what we send 5% extra. We send extra A325 heavy hardware, depending on the size, determines the quantity that we send or the scope of the building. So if you have, 2,000 5/8 by 2.5 inch A325 bolts, we're going to send a handful of extra, like probably at that point, like a dozen or something. But, but all that's baked into the cost, and all of that is pretty necessary, right? Because you're going to lose bolts on the job site as you're, unless you're super.
You're going to hide them in Girths and purlins.
Yeah, you're going to lose them up there and stuff like that. And so, there's not really any resolution on this one, right? It's just like something that, I've thought about a lot, and I think customers should consider it, right? Like it's easy if you're putting up the building yourself and it's your first time, hey, it might be worth it to you to spend a few $100 or $1,000 on one of extra everything. And it's easy for detailing to do it. We just need to do it before we ship the building, right? Otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But I know my customers.
Yeah.
It'd be like
clarifying that on like a change order would help too. Is like, hey, the customer does want one of additional of everything, and maybe even listing that out. Cause like you said, should we do an extra rafter? Well, we're going to need an extra column. Nah, you don't.
No, I was joking when I said
I know you are. I know you are.
Yeah.
But it is like, what are you expecting, where those problems are, like you said, we can send one of extra on every single piece. That's going to get quite expensive. Well, if that's what you care about, like, okay, cool, let's do a change order for those, and we'll have those listed before it gets to detailing, and we can make that modification. So
yeah,
it is
and
not
customers don't want to spend that extra $2,000, $3,000.
Well, it might not.
No, well-
Well, I don't think it'd be that much, but I was going to say it's not expensive until you need it. Right. I mean, or it is expensive until you need it. Then it was cheap. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's an expensive when it's a mistake, when it's a
Right.
problem.
But
Yeah.
I mean, man, I would have a hard time, as a customer. And like I said, I know my customers or our customers, loyal customer. Hey, sir, do you want to spend $450 extra bucks for a handful of these panels in other colors just in case you need them? Well, what do you mean? Why would I need them? Just in case you mess up, right? Just in case you run them over with the skid steer or something, right? Or, that curve cut is bad and you want to replace it, me as a customer, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not spending $450 on that. That's my beer money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. But, places like Alaska, I've seen people's standing seam roofs come off. The wind up there is ferocious, and that I've done it personally here in Colorado where I've had a sheet smack me in the face because the wind, things happen.
They do happen. Yeah.
I think export, it's almost necessary, right? Especially standing seam roof, right? Like, we do those jobs for Watterson, right?
Mhm.
Giant construction company up there. Like on the Coast Guard boat building, the giant building on Kodiak Island. They were like, I think they wanted like 4 of everything. And it's like, it makes sense. That is cheap compared to, hey,
Waiting 3 weeks.
We need we need a 35-foot long standing seam roof panel. Right. That's got to go on. That's like a 4-week voyage. It costs like $8,000. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever jobs they have, it's going to be a much bigger problem by the time it arrives.
Yeah. We ship those jobs to Western Africa, Igos or whatever. They wouldn't take one thing extra.
No.
Oh, wow.
I was like, hey, you guys might want to do this. I mean, I don't know how you can find this. I mean, I'm sure they'll come up with a solution if something gets damaged, but they didn't have it in their budget. And these buildings were massive. Those were huge. It was like 13 containers or something crazy. Yeah, shipped out of the port of Houston. That wasn't too long ago. Was that 3 years ago? 2 years ago? We made them here.
I think it was 3 years ago.
So Lagos?
Because the other one that I was thinking of too is, I mean,
Lagos.
Obviously, we do some buildings that are, maybe not export, but quite rural. To where it's like,
true.
You get something that's like 2.5 hours away from civilization, or just in even some of the job sites. I mean, you've been out there where, I mean, these guys are way out in the woods.
Yeah, really.
And it's one of those things where, like just going into town, is that ate up my day. I was hoping to put on a roof today, but realized didn't have that piece of trim or whatever. And okay, it's so, once again, so rural that you have to drive 2 hours to get to the main road, and that's where the drop will be.
I
for material.
The Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Northern Idaho, Washington State, potentially Montana, and the Northeast, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. It would make sense there. I mean, pretty much anywhere else in the lower 50, right? That panels and trim are going to be available in those standard colors from some supplier, right? The drawback to that is not having it. It might take, a company like Metal Sales 2.5, like their lead time might be like, yeah, cool, we'll sell it to you. We're going to rip your lips off on it. $9 a linear foot for a panel because you're not a commercial account. But it's 2.5 weeks out.
Yep. Run into that a lot.
Yeah. That's always.
It seems to be those Washington, Oregon. That always seems to be the problem. Like, oh, what are they missing, or what got messed up?
Right.
Oh,
yeah. What are they?
Washington.
Yep. Always Washington. Okay. I got a good one. This one came from Ryan, project manager Ryan. Garage door mounting plates.
I've
heard
but we fixed
for the spring pellets.
Well, we put in a detail. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, I know why we don't supply it. Well, I suppose we could supply it easily if we're also supplying the garage door, right? So a door from Amar is going to be different than door from Clopay, right? That mounting bracket and the way, and it could like sometimes like Janus doors or not Janus, but Clopay or Wayne Dalton is going to be very different than like an Amar, right? Still a sectional door, basic, same operation, but those spring packs are going to be in different locations, right? So if it's going on an end wall, unless there's a girt, usually on an end wall in the middle, there's not a girt above the garage door opening because it's as high as it can be. We have to place clips, the length of the, whatever we're going to put there. And we have to know the location, right? And then we also have to know the required strength of it.
I mean, in the field, some of the customer service things that I hear, like the garage door guy won't put up a backing plate. That's no.
Right. That's literally,
as an erector, we've done it plenty of times where the customer is like, hey, the garage doors guys say this and this. I'm like, well, we'll come back. We have some extra 2x4 angle. We'll slap them together. We'll get you some backing. But that doesn't happen a lot of times for a customer. And they're kind of fighting.
Right. But it's simple, right? Because we don't supply punch angle for the garage doors.
Exactly.
Right. And the backup plates are almost always punch angle.
Yeah.
Right. That's what the garage door specs is, punch angle. Now we could provide a different backup plate there. Right.
Yeah,
we could just,
I think the garage door guys should be taking care of it.
A lot of people think that it should be like a C channel, right? With the web facing out, it's not strong enough to hold those springs. The twisting motion on it is not. Not
depending on where you're going to connect to on an eave,
Right. It needs to be connected to the flange and probably back to back C's, like an I-beam, right? Or back to back angle. But there's always enough angle. Like there is enough material on the job site to handle all of that, right? Especially if there's field located framed openings. And if there's garage doors, that means there's going to be base angle cuts. That stuff can be used, but it's something we could, I think if a customer notifies us, hey, I want this included, we can certainly detail it, but we have to have the spec for the garage door. We have to know exactly where it's going. And we have to have some sort of moment calculation on the spring pack that's being used. Or we just over-design it to where we know it's good.
I thought it was a good remedy to include that detail with the punch angle. I thought that was a really, makes it kind of clear that we don't provide it, but this is how the garage door guys should do it when they come to install their punch angle and hanging those tracks, out into the purlins.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of meeting in the middle.
Well, I think if a customer wants it, they could tell us where they're going. Ask us for it. It's no problem. It's an easy thing to supply, right? Doesn't cost nothing. We don't supply it because we don't want to spend the money.
Well, and so often, I was looking at going with an Amar door and then I found the price, but then, I got to talk to a buddy who's also got a metal building and he gave me these guys. So I'm going with them. Well, we've already detailed it into that place. And like you said, those springs moved. You didn't have to tell us. So, but kind of like we're starting with at the beginning of the conversation, we didn't know, well, that could have resulted in a change, so.
I think it's such a minor issue.
It is. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. And the flexibility by us not providing it is easier than having us provide it and trying to work around whatever it is that we provided. But I don't see any reason why we can't provide it if somebody wants it. Right.
Yeah. I've never seen any metal building supply it.
Nobody does. No.
Nobody does.
Nobody even supplies a detail for it.
No.
Right.
No.
We do. I have universal closure written here, right?
Okay.
Because my notes were like topics, things that we supply that aren't necessarily correct, but they work.
Yeah.
But I know what I was thinking when I wrote universal closure, but it's dumb.
I think I might know too, but.
Right. Well, universal closure on like a rake end, right? It's necessary once you get past a 2-on-12, right? Because a regular cut closure is not long enough once you put it on angle. Or on pitch.
The universal closure is great. I've had to do things over 212 or 312 with the closures, and you have to cut them to fit. Looks like shit.
Yeah. What I don't like is, a lot of people, when they put that universal closure in there, it will oil can the heck out of the rake trim. So you need the extendo knife. If anybody doesn't know, I cut myself really bad with one of those extendable snap off razor blades. Oh, I got the artery, man. I've never seen so much blood.
Oh, no.
The
When? Recently?
like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was gnarly. But anyways, to take your utility knife and dish it out where it's on the high ribs, and that'll just make it so much nicer. But the reason why I wrote it was like, you know, there should be a closure for a 312 pitch or a 412 pitch, and in fact, they should be cut on angle so it's lines up.
Yeah, that would be slick.
That would be cool, right? But we don't make closures; we buy them.
Yeah.
Right. So we'd have to, and then in order to get new, in order to supply that, somebody would have to make the machine to cut it or the dies. That's going to be a bunch of money. Then it's like extra parts. Anyway, so we just do the universal closure. Like I said, it was silly. Oh, Garcia says, Aaron, what's your way to start to finish for a typical roll up door?
Start to finish for typical. I've never put
from start to finish.
Yeah.
For a typical roll up door.
I've never put a roll up door on.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done sectional doors.
I wonder if he's talking about a sectional door. We installed roll ups here. Dom did.
Yeah.
Those are easy. That comes in the instruction. You take the whole barrel up and bang and put it on, and those roll down inside the jams. Yeah. Or inside or whatever. But
I mean, typically like a sectional door, you just read that, it comes with instructions. You separate all the correct hinges, you get your track ready. I mean, but I'm definitely not a door guy. I've helped a lot put them in and then help tension the springs.
Right.
Big springs.
I think I can help out. Garcia's question here is, so normally you'll take out all of your door sections, lay them down usually on sawhorses, and attach springs to the lower section, right? Or not springs, the hinges. You attach those hinges. He's asked about a chain hoist. Well, you have a chain hoist in roll up and sectional, but more prevalent in a roll up door for a chain hoist. But anyways, you attach those springs to the top sections of each door panel. Then you come in and you install your door tracks. You leave them a little bit loose. Get your wheels in on the door sections, and you pop them in. You actually slide them in. You'll use a tool, just a wrench or whatever, to kind of open up the track. Snap that in, bring the door down, do it to the next section, drop that section. Then you can attach the springs that are already installed on the lower section. Or not the springs, the hinges.
Yeah.
Yep. And you just keep going up, and then you got to run then that's the easy part. Then it's like fine tuning everything and getting it. That's why door installers is a little bit different than regular construction, right? Putting up a metal building is pretty straightforward. A garage door, in my experience, especially sectionals, is hire the garage door installer to do it, because they're going to get it done. These guys will do it in like 2 hours. Right. First time I tried to install a big old, sectional garage door. It was like 2 days, and I still couldn't get it complete. I'm just like, what is going on? I'm reading the instructions. I'm doing right. These guys know it so well. It's nothing to them. It doesn't matter what brand or anything. They just boom, put them together. I mean, the Floresta building, Mountain State Construction recommended their door installer guy for us. It was cheap. It was like $2,500 they charged to come up there and install all those garage doors, and they had it done in 2 days.
Yeah.
What there was?
Yeah, they did it quick.
6 giant garage doors, all electric operators. Yeah, it was amazing. But Garcia, he says chain hoist, so I assume he's talking about a barrel door. When we installed them here, they literally put on a forklift, put up, you make your marks, you measure it, and that thing gets bang installed. And then there's the running tracks, and then the chain hoist just installs to the side of the barrel. But not a lot of experience with those, even though we installed it. But I mean, it was really simple.
Yeah, I don't have, like I said, a ton of experience with installing overhead doors, except for helping tension the springs.
It's really unusual to find a metal building erector that's going to install the garage doors as part of.
Yeah, we used to have a guy that worked for us that would, install some of them. And that's another thing. The tensioning those springs can, one, be dangerous, and two, you do need to know exactly how many times you're turning it for that door to roll up correctly.
Right. And it's in the instructions, and I've seen it on the Floresta ones. And it depends on the spring too. Like on Floresta, we came up and we put in those extra back brace struts, the struts on the back of the doors. And man, that made the garage doors so much heavier to lift up. And it's like, we just added 4 little struts. They weigh, 20 pounds. But we had to do another turn on the springs. But we called the garage door company and they said it would be fine. So the springs, the amount of turn is on the spring. And if you have a heavier door, it's not just more turns in the spring. It's probably a different, heavier duty spring that you need. And those things are dangerous. Like, go look at YouTube, man, guys.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I've held one while the guy put the other one in, and then let go, and we both.
Yeah,
I think
don't let go.
One door we had like 4 springs that had to go on that door,
right,
and 2 on each side. They no thanks.
All righty. Braden. Oh, he was talking about when you were talking about your building thing. All right, hey guys, I'm about done. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Oh, hey, if anybody's watching this, go check out that video that Justin just posted on the Sturgis building. Man, that was cool, Justin. We'll talk about that offline. So anyways, thanks for joining us. My name's Eric Beavers. This is the Metal Building Show, and I have got to go back to work.
We'll see you guys next time.
All right. You guys have a great week.
See you, Jared.
Take care, guys.
Bye.